age that we live in, we are always warned about misinformation and the negative effects that it has on society. But what exactly is misinformation and how can we stop the spread of it? Misinformation is defined as false or misleading information. One of the reasons why people believe in misinformation is due to cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is a psychological discomfort that people feel when they are confronted by two or more competing ideas. In order to resolve this internal conflict, people tend to ignore contradictory information, they discount contradictory information, or they double down on their beliefs by preaching information that follows their beliefs. Cognitive dissonance contributes to the spreading of misinformation because once someone believes an idea based off of misinformation, then they will cling onto those beliefs or ideas in order to reduce their feelings of discomfort. This is better known as confirmation bias. Psychological science can counter the spreading of misinformation through the process of psychological inoculation, also known as pre-bunking. This process tries to make people resistant to persuasion and influence by preemptively warning and exposing people to weak forms of misinformation in order to make them less susceptible to believing it. This process allows people to identify misinformation and disinformation tactics so that they build resistance to it. A Cornell-led study highlights the effectiveness of this process and the benefits of it. In the study, about 7,300 participants were made to watch a video about emotional language and the use of this technique. After watching the video, the participants then watched video clips that caused them to question whether or not the contents of the videos were accurate. According to Gordon Pennycook, Associate Professor and Himan Brown Faculty Fellow in the Department of Psychology and College of Arts and Sciences, states that if you tell people to watch out for things like emotional language, they'll disbelieve true things that have emotional language as much as false things that have emotional language. By learning to question any and all information that they are presented with, individuals are pushed to do their own research in order to clarify the facts that they have been told are true and which ones are false, which in turn helps stop the spread of misinformation. A real-world example of how psychological science can counter misinformation is the game Bad News and its use of psychological inoculation. Bad News is an online game that has players act as fake news creators, and they learn the techniques of misinformation. By exposing players to weak forms of misinformation and persuasion, the game aims to make people less susceptible to falling for misinformation. The benefits of the game were proven in a study conducted by researchers who showed participants 3 credible Twitter posts and 3 fake posts before and after playing the game, and they were told to rate how reliable the posts were. The study showed that playing the game Bad News made participants less susceptible to believing fake Twitter posts and fake news in general. Psychological inoculation can help us counter the spread of misinformation and can help us fix the blurred dichotomy between